Hey, what's going on? It's Quinn David Furness. Welcome to my show. Quinn David Furness presents the Beantown podcast for Friday, November 19th, 2021. What's going on? How are you? What's happening? My name is Quinn. This is my show. Thank you for tuning in to the Beantown podcast. I am your creator, host, best boy, caterer, coffee brewer, all that stuff. I got my Peanuts Squad Up mug going. If you are watching the live stream, this would be a good thumbnail. On YouTube. Hello to YouTube. I don't do video streams a ton these days just because, to be honest, I don't record in crazy places too often right now. It's pretty much right here on the couch. And also we got this, it's just the worst setup for the light because the light comes in directly behind me. And there's just nothing I can really do about that other than shut the blinds. But to be honest, I got about another hour of sunlight here, and then it's dark for the next 57 hours or something like that. It's about 3:30 p.m. on a Friday. A little bit different today because I actually have to work beginning at 4:30 p.m., believe it or not, up until about 7:30 tonight. And then I'm off for about 12 hours and then back at it actually in my office tomorrow most of the day. So it is a busy stretch. This week has been, I tell you what, it honestly feels like it's been 10 days since the last weekend. That's how long this week has been. It's just every day it has just been like boom, boom, boom. Starting with Monday. Long days. Thankfully, I haven't really had to do too much in terms of working on a Friday. But yeah, the amount of meetings, I don't know, just kind of like a perfect storm of everyone realizing, I think that, that next week is for most people, a 3-day, 2.5-day work week, but lots of people will take off Monday and Tuesday as well. So next week is kind of a wash. And then all of a sudden you're getting closer into December there towards the end of the year. Speaking of into December, a small gripe, and it doesn't really matter to me, but it's just kind of a bizarre thing. Here's the situation. So my primary company has a work vacation day policy where you get X amount of days per year. It's usually like 15-ish in that range, and you can carry over 5 from one year to the next. So you have to use all of your vacation except for 5 days. Okay, which is whatever. Like that's totally fine with me. Because I've never, not had enough vacation. And because I carry over 5 days each year, if I wanted to 1 year working for this company, I could, theoretically max out at whatever it is. It's like 20 days. It's actually a little bit more than that. I think it's like 22 or 23 days by using that 5 that I carry over every year. Now, my plan is not to do that and just cash out the 5 whenever I eventually leave this job, whenever that would be. But the gripe that I'm raising, we got a message today, and it's good news, but it's not going to really affect me. But it's also just kind of like it would have been helpful for planning. Is that we got a message saying for this year and this year only. So literally, we got basically 40 days left in the year. You can up your rollover from 5 days to 10 days instead, which is good, right? So it's like if you didn't use vacation, then you're not going to lose it up to 10 days. But it's like it's today's November 19th. And we have weeks in advance, but it's more like commonplace to do it at least a month in advance. And so a month in advance for us is already Christmas week. And it's like, well, then, this would have been great to know in start of the year would have been good. Anytime in late summer into the fall would have been good. It's literally November 19th. And they're saying oh yeah, you don't have to use all your vacation. Well, it's November 19th. So small gripe, poor planning. It really doesn't affect me that much, but it's just kind of, because it gets to that what happens is just the way our work schedules happen. And I think a lot of Americans face this. You get to the end of the year and you have so much left, and it's just like I have to start taking random days where I don't have anything planned, which is not a bad thing. But it's a lot tougher. And I think with COVID, it was tougher believe it or not, to just like take random days off for your own well-being, mental health, all that stuff, because there's just so much to do. And I speak for a lot of people, I think, certainly people I work with, when I say like, yeah, even when we take days off, it's like you're still getting stuff done, you're still answering emails. It's just, I don't know, that's just sort of the nature of like working in higher education. I think is just there's always, at least in a staff role, maybe not so much as a faculty member, I'm not sure, but as a staff member in an office like admissions, where there's just always something going on, right? It's never done, especially when you have rolling admissions. You're literally never done until orientation, which you also plan. So it's just like boom, 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 always going. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I will mention that this podcast, listener discretion is advised when you're listening to the Beantown podcast. Number one, we'll occasionally use some language. Number two, this podcast is objectively terrible, although I think today's going to be good because we've got some big ideas going on. I got 3 ideas I want to run by you. These are you because I think they're going to be pretty fun. Let me go ahead and share this stream on Facebook so we get anyone in here who would like to come listen as we get into our big ideas. And I want to, I'll go at the start here and thank our sponsors, Home Pride Oregon. When you need a howl, it's like whoever that is, Lou Dobbs on Fox News. Wow. When you need a home inspected in Central Oregon, you got to trust the experts, specifically my dad, Steve. Call him at 541-400-0316 or visit homeprideoregon.com. Mention special discount code Quinn for 0% off your first inspection. Tell him Quinn sent you. When you need your home inspected, call the experts. Call Home Pride Oregon. Our good friends, the Samson Q2U series, we got the new one going again this week. It's sophomore outing. Second time's the charm. When God speaks, he uses a Samson. And finally, our good friends, Cuts by Q. When you need a fresh do, something snappy and new, call the experts at Cuts by Q. I got out of the shower at the gym yesterday, and the way my hair had sort of naturally come to rest was very Alec Baldwin-esque. And I haven't been able to recreate. I don't know if I want to. I'm in that weird in between phase with my hair where it's like, I still think it looks good. Like I think it looks fine, but as it starts to get a little bit longer, and I started to do the push to the side sort of thing on top, which is longer than the sides and back. But it reaches a point where it just becomes like, I don't know, like too big on top of my head, if that makes sense. And I want to be able to like slick it back. But I don't like to use any sort of product or gel of any kind in my hair or hairspray really, unless absolutely necessary. And so it's not quite long enough to where I can just like push it all the way back and have it stay back into its natural position. Rachel likes to say I look like Jimmy Neutron, which I don't know, was that ever like a show or was it just a movie? We got the movie from like the Family Video one time, I think, when I was a kid. But I don't really know too much about Jimmy Neutron. I know he has a friend, Carl, because there's like a YouTube video of Carl singing a Weezer song, Say It Ain't So. And I think there's another friend. His name is like Vince or Lance or something like that. And that's all I really know about Jimmy Neutron. I think Jimmy Neutron was originally, was it a movie that they then spun into a television show? I don't know. But I'll get a sip of my coffee here from one of my favorite coffee mugs, Squad Up Peanuts Gang. I love this thing. That's some solid coffee. Okay, so very quickly before we get into our big ideas, and this episode is not going to be terribly long because we're gonna touch it on Real Housewives. Mention my 3 big ideas I have. See if you all have any big ideas in the chat, and then I'm gonna take off from there because I actually got to go back to work. So Real Housewives, you'll remember 2 weeks ago, we had the big Mary luncheon, the Italian streetwear thing where she asked Whitney to dress like a hooker. Really bizarre. And then at the very end, we get to the Jen Shah arrest. Okay. So this week is basically it's like the 8 hours from the time she leaves the beauty laser lab, whatever it's called, parking lot, the 8 hours that follow that. So we don't see any of Jen Shah in this episode. Okay, she's completely off camera the whole time. Basically, what happens is we spend a lot of time watching the footage inside of this. I don't even van, I guess you would call it. It's like a limo van sort of thing from Park City, Utah to Vail, Colorado. So I think it's 4 women, but let's count. Definitely on this car ride. It's like a 7-hour car ride or something like that. It's really long. You have Whitney, Heather, their cousins, Lisa, and Jenny, because Jen Shah's arrested. Meredith went beforehand, and Mary Cosby just kind of does her own thing, although she is going on this trip. So basically, and people have been saying, like Andy Cohen been saying, like, oh, this is a top 5 episode of all time. I don't know. I thought the episode beforehand was great because you get the build up to the arrest and you get Mary's crazy party where it literally was crazy. This episode was still good, but honestly, it's a lot of just like the 4 ladies riding in the car and just a whole lot of conjecture. Jenny's saying some controversial stuff just because she's trying to get more airtime. Lisa was literally on the phone with 6 different lawyers. She definitely seems a little sus. Whitney is like explaining in very clear detail what has happened. So I don't know if she's just like very knowledgeable about this stuff. She's got her own sort of like, I don't exactly understand her business. It's some MLM something. So it's certainly sketchy. I don't know if what she does is illegal in any way. I mean, obviously I wouldn't know. I don't think it is. I think it's just like a little weird. And then Heather's like, oh my gosh, I saw this on Ozark. And then she starts talking and explaining laundering money, which is pretty entertaining. Heather is like definitely, I think Heather is probably the most like normal of the housewives, which is, you look at her and she's got, just a ridiculous amount of work done. And it's easy to cast aspersions and be like, oh my gosh, she's a little weird. But like divorced mom, single mom, raising 3 girls, owns her own, like, beauty business with a store, a storefront sort of thing. And like, she's just very real, which I appreciate. Show things. She's not always the most entertaining, but she's definitely the most real, which I appreciate that about her. So very fun upstairs neighbors banging going on, not as in the sexual way, literally pounding of some kind. So that's fun. So Meredith had gotten to the house early, and she literally, I'm pretty sure she like takes a Xanax and hops in the bathtub. I think she's in there for like 3 hours. I'm not kidding. I don't know how they kept the water warm. Eventually Mary shows up. She had gotten a private jet or something. And by the way, Mary, like, definitely taking advantage of her congregation members. You see how much money she has. Like, church not parishioners, but like people who run churches by definition aren't supposed to be like ultra wealthy, but here we are. So hopefully Mary's the next one to go down. I don't know. But Mary shows up. She like is wandering around this house, which is huge. It's like, 7 bedrooms or something. And finally she has the most awkward conversation where she's like standing in, it's like a horror movie almost. She's like standing in the doorway talking to Meredith while Meredith is like submerged in bubbles, clearly like wonked out on something. And apparently Mary was the one who broke the news to Meredith. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it's just all very like bizarre. And then the other ladies show up. So there's 6 of them at the house, everyone except for Jen Shah. And that's pretty much what the episode was. There was a lot more to it. Honestly, because this week has been so long, I've forgotten most of the finer details of the episode. But definitely good. And this is just like, this chain of events is certainly worth watching if you haven't been already. They've announced a documentary, a Hulu documentary that is going to come out about the Jen Shah situation. And I'm sure will not paint her in any sort of positive light. And it'll be from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I assume this is going to be a very similar thing. Except as far as I know, it's pretty much Jen Shah and her assistant Stu Chains, who is like flipping on Jen today as we speak. As far as I'm aware, Coach Shah, who's Jen's husband, who's also the defensive backs coach at the University of Utah, has not had any legal issues of any kind at all. I don't think he's really involved, which is good for him because he seems like a pretty like stand up, upright dude. So, okay, I wanted to get to the point of today's episode, which is big ideas. Every once in a while on this show, we have a big ideas show. You never really know when it's going to pop up. There isn't necessarily a rhyme or reason. And I got to tell you, the maintenance guy who does our units keeps walking by in the window behind me and keeps looking in like he wants to be on the show. And I got to tell you what, there's just no room right now for two of us. And so if you're not watching the live stream, I have closed my blinds. And now you can see my beautiful face even better. It's just a shame, though, because now it's about 3:45 in the afternoon. And I know that those blinds have closed, and I'm done with natural light for certainly the rest of the day. Tomorrow I'm literally in, not my office, but working downtown from about 7:30 until 2:30-ish. So really looking forward, fingers crossed, to that 1 or so hour of natural light I'll get tomorrow. That's going to be great. But, okay, so we got big ideas. I put them on my phone so I wouldn't forget. These are mostly things that I thought of waking up in the middle of the night. This is like a Nathan for You level concept, I think. Unlimited paternity leave. Yes, you heard me right. For all the guys out there, I have found a way for you to crack the code, break the system, all those other adjectives you want to think about. Unlimited, or not adjectives, phrases of some sort, similes, onomatopoeias. Here's how it works. It's really very straightforward. You're a guy, maybe you get 2-3 weeks of paternity leave, whatever it is, okay? Here's what you do. This isn't gonna be a good idea if you are in a committed monogamous relationship. So for all of those people out there, just be entertained by this. But for you guys fresh out of college who are really playing the field, here's what you do. You impregnate a different woman. This is silly. On a 2 or 3 week schedule. So, we're talking about, 20 to 26 or so ladies throughout the year. And you're going to have to be hopping around, okay? I apologize for this, but it's how it has to be, okay? You want to see how the sausage gets made, I'm telling you. So then, presumably, 9 months after you start your sort of cycle, you will become a new dad every 2 to 3 weeks, thus allowing you to take continuous paternity leave for each one of your newborn children. And there's no, you can do this as long as you want, but theoretically there's no end. That's the beauty of being a male. You just keep firing them down the hole. And won't companies in their paternity or family leave policy have some sort of, rule saying you can only take one per year or so much in such and so period of time? You know what? That might be the case. And here's what you do if it happens. Let's say you're an investment broker with JP Morgan Chase. I don't know. Charles Schwab, Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, doesn't matter. Okay. You take it to the streets, old school style. You go to all the papers, all the presses, all the podcasts. I will gladly do this for you. And you say, whoa, JP Morgan Chase hates children. Charles Schwab despises infants. Fidelity is anti-life, okay? And you see how long it takes until those big corporations crumble. You go on the Tonight Show, you do Carson Daly, You can do the Beantown podcast. You might even consider that Pat McAfee show that Aaron Rodgers was on a couple weeks ago. You go everywhere you need to go. You spread the word that Bank of America is actively killing newborn children at a higher rate than the spirit of who is that? We talk about this every year on Passover. The ghost of Ebenezer Scrooge or something. If you didn't have lamb's blood on the truss mount or whatever it's called of your door, then he's going to come in there and he's going to kill your children. Okay. Hey, this isn't my idea. That's literally Genesis. And also, while we're on the topic of Genesis, because that can really get going here, or Exodus, excuse me. I was reading Exodus the other day. This was actually a couple weeks ago. And I posted this on Facebook. No one even gave it. Mark Zuckerberg and his Meta corporation continue to block me out or what it was. But I was reading about the story of the golden calf, right? Moses goes up to the, top of the, Mount Sinai. He receives the tablets from God. I don't know where, God got the building materials to make tablets, but that's neither here nor there. He comes back down, Moses, not God, mind you. And Aaron is totally sleeping with Moses's sister, whatever her name was, Delilah or something. They're definitely getting it on. No question there. But everyone else is worshiping this golden calf. And so Moses literally brings in like his own tribe, his own kind of cronies, in like the mobster movies, they got like their group of guys. There's like 5 of them, the enforcers. Moses essentially has those, the Levites, I think. And they just come in and completely murder everyone. I think the translation I was reading, 3,000 Israelites chop their head off, stab their gonads. I don't know, how they did it back then, but we never talk about that. And I'm pretty sure in the Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner 10 Commandments film, they stopped the film before we really get to that. We need a sequel, okay? Here's the thing. We could do a 10 Commandments sequel, 2021. Someone remind me. We're going to do this for Passover next year, where we cast the modern day 2022 sequel to the 10 Commandments. This time it'll be like the 10 Commandments : the 11th commandment or something like that. Okay, so here's who we have to cast. And I apologize for getting slightly off topic, but this is a great topic. And we're going to come back to our 2 other big ideas, I promise. One of them, which is movie-centric. Who are we going to cast? Well, Moses is only going to be in there for a little bit because, a long time, actually, 40 years. But in the span of what we're trying to cover, I'm trying to go all the way to, table and maybe Constantinople, although it was called Byzantium back then. So we got a lot to figure out. Here's the thing. Maybe what was the capital of Persia? They could put it in there too. Babylon? I don't know if that's right or not. Darius, Xerxes, Nebuchadnezzar, etc. Okay, so you need to cast for Moses. I'm thinking like a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson type. You need Aaron, so that's like his half brother or something like that. Aaron could be like I don't know. I'm thinking Ken Jeong. And then you would need the sister, Miriam, I think is her name, not Delilah. That would be a good like Julianne Moore, I think. And then you're going to need a Joshua. He's got to kind of be that young, scrappy up-and-comer who takes over the tribe after Moses dies. Who could be a great Joshua? A lot of times in modern movies, they flip the gender roles, or you could just have like the opposite gender portraying this. But this could be like a nice Mulan thing where like it's the young village girl pretending to be a male so she can be a soldier. There could be this big reveal at the end where she's like, I'm not Joshua, I'm Josina or something like that. And I'm thinking a great role for this would be, I don't know, probably that girl from The Ring. Okay. And I'm not talking about Naomi Watts. So we're going to come back to this. Okay. Someone remind me in 5 months, whenever Easter is. But that's, how did we get here? What were we talking about? I don't even know what my big idea was. Oh, yes. unlimited paternity leave. Okay, so that's how you get unlimited paternity leave. Big idea number one. Big idea number two. Let me get my coffee here. Okay, so you all know Disney's doing all their Disney, re-Disneyfication films. We just talked about Mulan, but they've done. They did call her Camille Habanero. I think her name is Camilla Cabello. I think she's dating someone named who's really famous, apparently Shawn Mendes, and they have a song. It's like, I like it when you call me Senorita. I heard it once on the radio. But back to my point here, Lion King. Okay, they're making a lot of calling them live action films. Although calling the Lion King remake live action was just complete and utter bullshit because it's still animated, just a different type of animation. There's nothing live action about that. Okay, I'm not going to apologize for that. Here's the thing. There's a classic out there, Walt Disney's first ever full feature-length film, I believe. I think Steamboat Willie was like a YouTube short or something. So I think Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is, it's about time, okay? And this would be a great opportunity because all those dwarves were like super white. This will be a good opportunity to get some new names in here. So this is big idea number two. It's got 7 little ideas as part of this one big idea. So we're not talking about casting or anything, just who are the new 7 dwarfs, new dwarfs on the block, yo? Okay, so number 1 is going to be Tricky. And this is, if you've ever seen Gremlins or Gremlins 2 Family Business, excuse me, no, that's Boss Baby 2 Family Business. Now on Hulu, I'm going to watch it. I haven't seen the original Boss Baby. I am sad that Marsden replaced McGuire, but I'll still watch it. Tricky is going to be like one of those gremlins that just gets in there and goes nuts. Okay. I think that's going to be really good. I think the kids are going to like it. It reminds me, and this was like spinning in the very back of my head. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but I just remembered, which I'm really happy about. There is what arguably my favorite meeting for Gremlins 2. And Key and Peele have a lot of fantastic sketches. This one is so damn good. Oh my gosh. Gremlins 2 Brainstorm. The best thing is all these characters, they're coming up with these crazy characters, and it's within the context of the sketch. Like, oh, this is silly. Like, this is wild. It's all the actual Gremlins. Okay. It's great. That's going to be Tricky. He's just, he's very sneaky. Nothing sexual, but just very sneaky. Number 2 is going to be Dixie. I figure, we're seem to be very concerned in this country about white hate. Whether you agree with it or not, there's clearly a feeling of like, oh my gosh, I should be ashamed of, my privilege or like being white, all that stuff. Like whether you think it's bullshit or not, that sentiment exists for much of the country. And so I think having some representation would be good. And we're going to talk about representation in the, 2 or 3 more dwarfs here, but this one is going to be Dixie. Okay. His whole Southern drawl. I'm thinking like a Kristen Chenoweth type of vibe. If you want to go so far and really, spark some debate and make it, a Confederate flag assless chaps, like, hey, I'm not producing the film. I know that would get some really good BuzzFeed clicks though. And in this business, it's all about the clicks. Okay, number 3. This one is, the Tricky's going to be good for comedic relief, but we're taking it one step further with the potty humor. This one's gassy. And they're gassy, okay? A lot of stomach discomfort. They're always, they got the bottle of Tums. They're always just like shaking a whole big handful into their mouths. But then you turn around, you pan back on the camera. Next thing you know, they're spoonful deep in Bush's Boston baked beans, okay? That's gassy. They just can't help themselves. We could have Boston baked beans, pinto, okay? Or, it ends once you hit most of the beans that exist, but it could be really good. Okay, so that's gassy. Next up, I mentioned we were going to, mix things up a little bit here. Diversity, okay? Very fun. So, all you really need is for them to end in Y. And so that's why I chose diversity. I'm thinking we could like cram all the non-white races and ethnicities into one character, and I don't really know what it's going to look like or what type of accent they're going to have or something like that, but I think it would be pretty fun. Okay, so that's going to be diversity. Number 5, we got 3 more here. Hangry. Oh boy, that is going to be trouble. I think Hangry and Gassy could probably collaborate. Maybe Hangry's like, always trying to get some of Gassy's beans. The two of these could be 2 peas in a pot. They're always going with each other. Hangry throughout the whole movie. They start out just a little hungry, and they just want some of those beans, but they can't get them for whatever reason. I don't know. We'll figure it out. By the end of the movie, Hangry is significantly hangry. Okay? It's fun. Character growth, it's in the name. It's easy. Okay, second to last one, we've got portly. Okay, so some of those dwarves were already pretty portly in the original telling of the film. But I think portly would be good. One, it's just a fun word you don't hear very often. Portly, Portly. But also we could do the whole like 80 Bryant, Old Navy, like being overweight is cool sort of theme. I don't know. Maybe we could have like cane sugar and saturated fats be a promotional sponsor for this show. I'll leave it up to the marketing. Whatever the opposite of fat shaming is, fat glorification. And I certainly am not. I'm not promoting fat shaming, nor do I think it's bad or wrong to be overweight. But we definitely are reaching an interesting point in like corporate advertising and marketing where you see it a lot with there's like a Bud Light commercial out there right now. You see it a lot with like Grubhub. Companies are really towing this line between like, it's totally a good thing to show characters of all or actors, people, whatever, of all different sizes enjoying your products. But one could argue that some companies are taking it a little bit too far and actually promoting this. I'm not making a case one way or another. It depends on the specific example, but you can't argue that it's not a question, a conversation. Okay, so we'll tap into that. Okay, this movie is going to be woke. We've got diversity and we've got portly. Okay, so that's pretty good. Last but not least, Spike. Okay, so our 7 dwarves, we have Tricky, Dixie, Gassy, Diversity, Hangry, Portly, and Spike. I think it's going to be good. That's a winner right there. That we could have Camille Habanero play Snow White. We could have evil stepmother could be evil, the queen. She's going to have to look into the mirror. So probably a Willem Dafoe. We could do a callback to the original Spider-Man. Spider-Man very much in the news. No Way Home trailer came out this week. Willem Dafoe, known for his mirror scenes in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. We could do a little callback to that. I think it'd be good. So we got Willem Dafoe. We got Camille Habanero. And, you got to have some sexy prince. Probably either the third Manning or the third Hemsworth. My last big idea, and then I'm going to be done, I promise, because I got to get ready for work. It's some sort of, I don't know if this would be like a good, primetime game show. This could be something that either like Steve Harvey hosts or Ellen, or maybe like Chris Kattan. Or it could be more of like a web series type of thing. You could get that Scott Rogowski, the Johns Hopkins grad, the former host of Trivia HQ. Is that what it's called? Trivia Crack, something like that. Just one of those people who's real irritating, who for whatever reason, there's a segment of white people that love him and everyone else hates him. It was one of those types of internet personalities who would be good. You can't have someone like, a Sean Evans who's actually like likable and talented. You got to get someone from, the lower rungs. Okay. But here's the pitch. This is the title of the program. Will It Flush? upon second thought, you'd want to get someone with a first name Will. Okay, so who are our options here? Well, the famous ones are Will Ferrell, Will Arnett, Will Poulter is British, is an actor that could be good. I don't know if he kind of strikes me as more like a Henry V on the main player's stage, like the theater kind of guy, and not so much as like the crazy like Leslie Jones host this on ABC at 9/8 Central type of guy. But I'm just thinking of Will's here. Will Forte, I respect too much. Not throwing him into this conversation. Other Wills, I don't know. If you think of any Wills, email us, beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. Again, it's beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. We could have Will Turner, Orlando Bloom, reprise his character from Pirates of the Caribbean. He can host it as a pirate. Katy Perry can. But Will it flush? Okay, the title is pretty self-explanatory. I think this would be a hell of a show. You got a contestant, an item, and the whole question is this going to flush? Is this going to go down? If the toilet floods, you lose all your money. If it flushes, you win big. We could, promotional products could be like, we could do a cross promotion with the dwarf Gassy from the new Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs film. You could have Preparation H for sure. I know Charmin would be very interested in this project. So will it flush? And you got to, people chant like on Wheel, Fortune, here are the stars of America's Game, Will Poulter and Katy Perry. I would watch that show, okay? Carson Daly, if he'll rename himself to Will, maybe his middle name is Will. We'll figure it out. I think it's a great idea. Will it flush? Bus driver, move that bus, right? Same energy. It's a real shame Ty Pennington doesn't have the first name Will, because that is like DUI Ty Pennington. That's the exact energy I'm going for. Or like a Charlie Sheen. Boy, it's a real bummer that I can't think of a Will who's really just off his meds, unhinged right now, because that's really the vibe I'm looking for. Okay, so those were my big ideas. We had something about Moses executing his friends. Oh, the unlimited paternity leave. Okay, and the subsequent media hullabaloo that you could, the circus, if you will, that you could cause if you didn't get what you wanted. Easy way to collect a paycheck without working for the rest of your life. Then we had our new Seven Dwarfs from an upcoming, hopefully an upcoming Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs project. And then our new game show or web series, Will It Flush? Okay, what are your past? You can follow us and message us on Facebook. You can email us, beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. Finally, I want to say hello to my friends out in Pakistan, Hyderabad, Islamabad, Persia, and the Khyber Pass, wherever you are listening from. Thank you for making us almost a top 100 comedy podcast in your beautiful country. That's what I got for you, everyone. Thanksgiving is next week. Wow. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. I have not figured out the plan for when we're recording, what it's going to be like if we get a live turkey on air. This is all very TBD. But I promise you a shorter episode, and I don't have anything else that I got to get to. So for this show, rather, because I'm about to go back to work. So thank you all. Go check out that Key and Peele Gremlins 2 sketch if you haven't, or if you have watched it, I encourage you to watch it again, because I really think it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And I don't throw that around willy-nilly. So everyone, thank you for listening. Oh, get that mug at Spencer Gifts. Thank you for that comment. No, this was actually, I don't know where it was from. This was a birthday present. I think a birthday present, either from Rachel or her family. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head who it was, but it's a killer mug. In case you're not watching the live stream, you should do that, because well, you didn't really miss that much, but it says Squad, and it's got let's see, we got Sally Brown. Is that her name? Yeah, Sally, right? Charlie Brown and Sally, right? Yeah. Linus Van Pelt, Charlie Brown, Lucy Van Pelt, and Snoopy, and 2 Woodstocks. Apparently Woodstock cloned himself, like Dolly the sheep. Cloning, that's a whole other topic for another big ideas kind of concept. But that's what I got for you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope you don't have to work like myself, but I'm going to call it and big ideas. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you for supporting our show, our 202nd show of Palindrome. We love palindromes on this show, and we love you all, the fans. Okay, that's what I got for you. Take care, stay safe, stay sane, and I'm going to check in on you next time. First, we will end this YouTube stream. Bye, YouTube. Take it easy. And now I will check